Hey everyone, James Lynch here doing a quick reaction video to the news that UFC Kansas City has its main event, and it's a bit of a grudge match here. It's going to be Jamahal Hill taking on Khalil Rountree Jr., the UFC announcing this on their Instagram. They added a bunch of other fights as well, but I want to focus on this fight because if you remember, these two were supposed to fight last year, and we all know the story there. Khalil Rountree has the drug test issue, fights off. Jamal's supposed to fight Carlos Ulberg, then Jamahal Hill ends up being off of the fight as well. This is going to be a great fight in the division. You can see it there, number 4 taking on number 7. Let's do a quick tail of the tape between these two. I'll give you my thoughts on this fight. So you can see Jamahal Hill, 33 years old. He's going to be 6'4" with a 79-inch reach. You've got Khalil Rountree, who is 35 years old, 6'1" with a 76.5-inch reach. So Jamahal Hill going to have the height and reach advantage in this fight. He's also going to be 2 years younger than Khalil Rountree in the matchup. Of course, Jamahal Hill coming off another loss, getting knocked out by Yuri Prochazka in the 3rd round of their fight. Also got knocked out famously by Alex Pereira in the fight previously. He did win the title a couple years ago against Glover Teixeira, getting the unanimous decision win and capturing the belt. We all know the injury history and everything else. Khalil Rountree actually probably won some more fans over with his performance against Alex Pereira, ultimately coming up short, but looked pretty good in the early rounds in that one. Ends up getting finished in the 4th round, and that got performance of the night bonus for that one. And of course, before that, had the win over Anthony Smith. And, you know, some people felt like Rountree didn't deserve the title shot, but he put up a very good fight against Alex Pereira. My early pick on this fight is going to be Khalil Rountree. Now, this is a tough fight to pick because I think it's kind of a case, in my opinion, of which fighter are we going to get. And that goes with Jamahal Hill as well. The Jamahal Hill that we saw in the last fight against Yuri Prochazka, the fighter that perhaps we saw against Alex Pereira, I don't think that's the same fighter that fought Glover Teixeira. I don't think it's the same fighter that fought, Thiago Santos. We saw a much faster, much more dynamic Jamahal Hill in those fights. So if we're basing it off Jamahal Hill's last fight, which is what I'm doing in this fight, I'm leaning more towards Khalil Rountree because obviously Rountree looked good in that fight. But I want to warn people because, again, Jamahal Hill's always public enemy number 1 with the fans. People are going to look at the performance against Pereira and say, of course, he wins easily. But let's not forget that we see a couple different versions of Khalil Rountree throughout his career. We're not that far removed from his fight with Dustin Jacoby back in 2022, which I don't think he won that fight. After that, then he beats Chris Daukaus, Anthony Smith, 2 fighters who, Daukaus isn't in the UFC. Smith's basically on his retirement fight. We'll talk about that in a second. So I don't know. I don't think it's a slam dunk that Khalil wins this fight. It's going to be whoever ends up landing first, whoever gets the best shots. And I think it's going to end up being Khalil, but this to me is actually a very close fight on paper. If I had to do the odds on this one, I think they're probably going to go 2-1 favorite here for Khalil Rountree. I know he's older, but they are going to base heavily off that performance against Alex Pereira, and they're going to look at the fact that Jamal has lost 2 fights in a row compared to Khalil, who's just lost 1. So that's my early pick. I'll dig into this one a little bit more on early look. It's not my official pick yet, but that's kind of where I'm leaning. And just quickly, they announced a bunch of other fights for this card as well. Anthony Smith taking on Zhang, which is, just the UFC's way of trying to build someone else off Anthony Smith's name. We already know about Chikaze and Onama. That's going to be a good fight. How about the 2 best 1-round fighters in the middleweight division, Michel Pereira and Abus Magomedov? And really glad they rebooked the Ikram and Andre Muniz fight. That's going to be great as well. I'll dig into those fights a little bit later. But yeah, just wanted to mention we have a main event for UFC Kansas City. So I want to know what you guys think in the comment section below. Which way you're leaning on the main event? What's your early pick on this one? Was this the fight to make? Follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, @Lynch on Sports. My name is James Lynch. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.